Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I graduated from PA school in 2021, but I wanted to make this video because I remember when I was in PA school, I found a lot of these videos helpful. So this is going to be a video about my clinical rotations. Like I mentioned, it's been a minute, so I don't remember everything, but I remember enough that I think it's still going to be enjoyable. So this is just going to be off the cuff, off the top of my head. I don't have any notes here. So first off, I had my general surgery rotation. I remember that one the most because it was the most traumatizing. General surgery rotation was in a private hospital. I was, my preceptor was the chief of that hospital, the chief surgeon of that hospital. And then I had a chief resident. It was a residency program. I was with another student who was from my school. It was kind of cool because we'd already, we'd known each other in school. And so that was nice to have someone that I was familiar with. What did it look like? So I would get to the hospital around, like wake up around 4:30, 5 a.m. Usually we were there around 5:30, 6 a.m. We'd grab breakfast. It was nice that the hospital actually gave us a cart so that we'd be able to get breakfast and lunch. And we would get to the OR floor. We'd change into our surgical scrubs and then we would scrub in. Once we scrubbed in, we would go in and we would second assist or first assist on surgeries. Now, the main surgery that I actually saw was cholecystectomy, which is gallbladder removal. But it was kind of cool that a lot of the surgeons in the operating room who were also doing surgery were nice enough to allow us to come in and at least observe their surgeries and sometimes even assist. So there's a plastic surgery and she was a plastic surgeon and she was really known for actually doing breast implant removal. And so I remember she allowed me to, I was second assist on that because she had her first assist that she always worked with. There was a really awesome vascular surgeon who was just so sweet, and he also allowed me to just observe. Vascular surgery is very intense, so I was really cool to have that opportunity. Yeah, there was another vascular surgeon who also allowed me to observe. So for the first half and sometimes the entirety of the day, we would just be in the operating room. We'd go to lunch, and I forgot, it was either like Tuesdays or Wednesdays were clinic days. And so on those days, for the second half of the day, we would actually go to clinic and we would see the patients. We would actually go into the patient room. We would have already looked at their chart, known what kind of surgery they were being seen for, or sometimes they're just in-office procedures, pre-op situations where they're being evaluated to see if they're actually a candidate for surgery. So we would go in, we would get their history, we'd get the physical exam, we'd go and we'd present it to the attending surgeon or the chief resident. He was harsh. I mean, I remember the one thing I will say about surgery is the personalities are intense, and it can be it can easily become your favorite rotation or your most disliked rotation. So you got to think these are people who are very type A, very, intense. You're likely to find people who are more on the neurotic or narcissistic end of the spectrum. It's just the reality of the way people kind of place themselves into careers. And so dealing with those personalities was kind of hard. I just remember one incident where the attending surgeon asked me a question, and this is in clinic, and he asked what could cause rectal pain. And so I started giving my answers. Obviously you think about like, hemorrhoids, God, I forgot what it is, fissures. And I said like proctitis. And he said something like, no, proctitis is not going to, which I still, by the way, don't understand why proctitis wouldn't cause rectal pain, but that's another thing. And I made a face like this face. Kind of. And this is my thinking face, by the way, because I was thinking, I'm like, did I read, in my head, I still remember what I was thinking. I was like, did I read proctitis somewhere? I wonder why I thought that. That's literally what was going through my head. And he just like shouts at me, don't give me that face. And I just, the thing that I can appreciate about myself is I'm able to stand up for myself. And I just looked at him and I said, I'm not giving you this face to be rude or dismissive. This is honestly just the face I make when I'm thinking. I was just trying to remember where I had read about proctitis. And you could tell he felt stupid at that point because he just went off for no reason. And that was a big thing about the surgeon. And he very much had a temper issue. So After that, there were also many times where we would go in for kind of education by the residents. So the residents would either sit us down and teach us about some topic in general surgery. And yeah, there was not really a test. Nice thing also is that we were rotating with medical students. And so we would sometimes go in with the medical students, chit chat with them. We had time to practice. So we didn't really, there was only one time where I got to round on patients with one of the surgeons, not the surgeon that I was with, but with another surgeon who allowed me to shadow. And otherwise, we didn't do pre-rounds or rounds. And so that was actually kind of nice because it was a overall pretty chill general surgery rotation. You're not going to really get a lot of those very often. General surgery tends to be a pretty intense rotation for all of the things you have to do. You're waking up very early. I always felt bad for the residents. They chose that path and kind of knew what was coming to them, but I just felt bad because sometimes they were on 24-hour call, or it was a 24-hour shift, and you could tell that they were so exhausted. But you also could tell that they really liked what they were doing. The surgeries that I saw, a lot of them were done through the Da Vinci robot, which is it's a really cool surgical robot. So we also got to learn kind of how to hook things up and remove things after the surgery, and that was a general surgery rotation. So I'm just gonna stop here for general surgery. The next video I will do will be on my emergency room rotation.